All right, welcome to the second hour of The Count, where we're counting down the major stories of the week. I'm Lydia Serrani. Now for story number 5, Trump attacks backfiring. So once again, we have Trump, the attacks keep coming for him. There's 3 indictments. Now there's a 4th indictment possibly coming from Georgia. But is this actually just backfiring on the Democrats? Is this political persecution? We have a lot to discuss. Let's bring in our panel of experts with us. All right. We have Lindsay Halligan and Bruce Lavelle. Thank you guys for being with us. Lindsay and Jessie Jane Duff. So we have three guests with us. Okay, so I'll start off with you first, Lindsay. After the indictment this week, the president's supporters seem to be rallying around him. What have you been hearing?
Well, I think ultimately he's being prosecuted for perpetrating fraud on the American people. And I think we need to remember who else has perpetrated fraud on the American people. The 51 federal intelligence officials that approved of the Steele dossier. You know who else perpetrated fraud on the American people? Twitter and the federal government before Elon Musk took it over. And another person that's perpetrated fraud on the American people is Joe Biden. He's a compromised person that gives more to China and Ukraine than he does to America.
All right. And Bruce, so all eyes now are on the state of Georgia, where you have the district attorney there talking about that she wants to come after Trump, too. What do you think about this?
Well, thanks for having me, and happy Saturday. You know, I'm right here in Atlanta, in Fulton County. I'm actually in Fulton County. My business is in another county, so I'm very close to the pulse of the community and what's happening as it relates to this. You know, I just posted this, Lydia, it's actually on my Facebook page, where the commissioner, Rob Pitts, who is a Democrat, is on camera with 11 Alive, just furious and mad because of the backlog of Fulton County Jail is overflow. And he says, quote, the district attorney needs to prosecute these people and get them out of this jail. The reason being, Lydia and Newsmax viewers, they're trying to build a $1.6 billion jail in addition to that old. So this is I say to say real quick, and I know Jessie's got to come on. The fact of it is she's too busy meddling with this political persecution on President Trump, and we are getting just run over in crime and chaos here in Fulton County.
You see that happening in all of these cities. Look at D.C., look at Chicago. I mean, and this is what they're focused on. Get Trump at any cost. Jessie Jane, we're seeing him surging in the polls. Is it backfiring? We heard Trump earlier say, we played the clip where he said, just give me one more indictment and the election is mine. Do you agree?
Yes, absolutely. I love how he mocks the left. He's basically saying, bring it on. I'm ready for you. Because part of his speech also said, we will evict the criminals and thugs out of Washington, D.C., because that's exactly the type of behavior that they're now doing. They are now demonstrating that they've weaponized the political system against their rivals. We all know and have heard it time and time again. This is how third world countries have been run. This is how dictators have run. And yet now we have Joe Biden going after the #1 political opponent. Perception is reality, Joe. Regardless of whatever you are trying to portray to America, this is the reality for Americans, that you're attacking your rivals. I think it was glorious when he made that comment that we have a 4th indictment pending and we will have this wrapped up. The others won't even have a chance. And he's 100% right. I appreciate that he has the fortitude and the steel of a true warrior. And speaking as a Marine, that is something that I seek in a leader. Somebody who is fearless, he leads, he doesn't follow, and he tells others to get out of his way. I admire that unconditionally.
Lindsay Halligan, you're an attorney for President Trump, and he addressed his 3rd indictment at a Republican dinner in Alabama. Take a listen.
Every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a truly great badge of honor because I'm being indicted for you. Thanks a lot.
If Trump wasn't running for office, Lindsay, do you think they'd be charging him? Do you think they'd be going after him this hard?
Absolutely not. And we have to ask why Jack Smith waited 2.5 years to pursue this. And also, Jack Smith's job isn't to give artistic license to United States statutes. We don't want creative prosecutors. We don't want prosecutors who are like, maybe this archaic statute could potentially apply to this person we hate. We need prosecutors to go after crimes that are apparent, that are blatant. We don't want prosecutors who are trying to convince millions of Americans that someone like Donald Trump here committed a crime. Millions of Americans simply don't agree.
Right. Bruce Lavelle, by the way, Bruce Lavelle is a longtime advisor for President Trump, former executive director of the National Diversity Coalition. So tell me, what do you think about the African-American community? They love Trump. I mean, you see it. They never did better when Trump was in office. You're seeing the chaos that is happening all across the country, specifically in blue cities. And what people don't understand is that the majority of crime victims are people of color. I know they're Democratic strongholds, but do you think they're starting to wake up and realize, you know what? We need Trump back in office.
Yeah, absolutely right, Lydia. You hit it right on the head. You know, especially black men. And that I said that last election, we had as much as 20+% in certain counties and states around the country that supported him. You know, listen, we went up 13% in 2020. And imagine if we had real news, letting the information flow equally, we would have doubled that. We know that. And real quick, Lydia, what I think about that as relates to that, you know, the left has always weaponized black votes, throw money at certain foundations and certain huge black congregations and everything to keep control of that vote. But what's happening is, real quick, and you see this in Chicago. I have friends in Oakland, as well as in Texas, as well as you see what's in New York. And here in Atlanta, the fact that they're seeing a lot of illegal immigrants coming in their communities with, quote, government issued, I call them Visa cards, with money on there, with vouchers, cell phones in some instances, and all types of monetary gifts given to them, and then putting them in their communities. This is going on right now. You see, that's why Mayor Adams, he won't say it up in New York, but he knows he has this problem. So with that point being said, when President Trump said, "What the heck do you have to lose?" he was speaking to the entire country of black folk, like, hey, look at your roads, look at your schools, let's try something different. What do you got to lose? Let's try something. So now they're seeing that, and they're seeing the fruits of fruition of Joe Biden's failed his administration, and now they have something to compare for in the 4 years that President Trump held the office. So to answer your question, you're going to see more and more black Americans once again vote for President Trump. Thank God, and we just want, and listen, we want everyone, because we want all the votes, okay? We want to get them back in.
Right. It seems like this country needs a strong course of action to get us back on track. And that's why you're seeing the support for Trump. It's just this kind of groundswell because people are seeing that the economy is failing. They're seeing the drug crisis. They're seeing a border crisis, despite the lies that are being spewed by the left-wing media. So, Jessie Jane, I mean, you're part of the media now. You're on with us quite a bit. Your background, you're ambassador for America First Policy Institute. You're a gunnery sergeant for the U.S. Marine. You're a tough lady. How frustrating you are. That's why I love you. So how frustrating is it for you when you encounter people out on the street that are just so misinformed because of the left-wing media?
Well, I was selected to be the co-chair for Veterans for Trump, and representing such a large demographic, 22.5 million veterans out there, there should be absolute shock and horror to what this administration has done. Now, this has been a drip, drip, drip with the Department of Defense, but here we are now that they are promoting an agenda that has nothing to do with national security now. We're seeing the CRT training. We're seeing the transgender embellishment where they're no longer deployable because of the situation with their surgeries that they need. They're promoting the left-wing agenda versus thinking, hey, we could potentially have two wars on two different fronts. China is knocking. We have Russia and Ukraine going at it. Meanwhile, we're trying to show that we're so diverse and unified when, in fact, you're not a government organization like a GS-13 for the federal government. Your sole purpose in the United States military is to overwhelm and destroy the enemy. You must have the best and the most qualified classified that are within that branch of service, because Joe Biden is watering it down to a point where the foreign leaders are just thinking there's nothing to fear here. We're not even meeting our recruiting goals. I tell you right now, I saw enough film footage with Donald Trump with the troops when he would fly overseas. They loved him. They embraced him. I saw Marines tell him, I re-enlisted because of you.
Wow.
And he responded, I'm here because of you. It's always been about you. He did, when Hillary Clinton started that I'm with her campaign, he said, I'm with you. This is our presidency. This is our country. He will destroy that meritocracy. And essentially what they're doing in the White House right now is creating a dictatorship. And if you vote against Donald Trump, you're endorsing that very dictatorship. You're turning a blind eye to all of the scandals because you just want it to go away, and it won't. It will only get worse, and our freedoms will slowly drip, drip, drip go away.
If it could happen to him, it can happen to you. Jessie Jane Duff, Bruce Lavelle, and Lindsay Halligan, thank you all for being with us.
I was ready for the fight song, Lydia. Get that.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song. All right.
No, I was going to go sign up.
Fight. All right, coming up. All right, guys.